Over the years, Ancient 9 Investigation Unit, I have had many cases. This happened around 2024. The investigation unit, me and one of our other unknowns, and of course Avalon, we were in the swamps in South Louisiana. And of course we, over the years, had filmed gnomes, elves, all kinds of different beings we've encountered, both cryptid and interdimensional. But of course we have taken a break for a while because of this specific encounter. In this case, I will call it the Pale Stalker. Over the years of my many encounters, never have I been in terror. Of course, I am experienced with dealing with these entities. I've done extensive research on all of them, but this one was different. I'm sure many of us have heard of the skinwalkers and different entities, the Wendigos. But this figure, this pale-faced stalker, it has its own patterns. When we first filmed it at the swamp, we thought that we were filming a normal, typical entity like we've always captured on film. We have so many on film, but this one was different. When they came out, they were tall. There was two of them at a time, and they had a black suit. And as she filmed it, she tuned right into it. That was one thing about Avalon that I was very intrigued with, that she didn't run away. This didn't scare her. She jumped into the investigations quick, and she spotted them before me, but there they were. One more faint than the other, but this specific one, he was tall, with a dark suit on. And of course, automatically I thought of the Slender Man. So of course, we didn't think nothing of it. We went home that night and we reviewed our film and we documented it. And of course, we had about 14 entities that night. And then, we followed that week, 2 weeks, going into our investigations. And then there he goes another time. Pale, slender. So 3 or 4 times. So after a while, we were noticing that there was something very different about this particular entity. It had more of a personality. And I remember one of the following nights that we had seen those specific pale, tall ones. And Avalon, it grew real sick. And one of the associates in the house was hearing things and noises and stuff like that. And of course we weren't like that because we never had encountered any of the spirits to where they would follow us. And we were a little distance away from the swamp when we first filmed the Pale Faces, so we kind of brushed that off. So this is when it really started getting deep. And I realized that one of the biggest mistakes anybody could make is to mistaking a ghost for an ancient spirit. And this is definitely what this Pale Stalker was. So I went to my home in Houston one day, and of course I was on the phone with Avalon, and I was looking at her, and it was like if all of a sudden she had saw a ghost, and I'm like, what's wrong? And then she says, I caught something on film I want you to see. And I say, when? She was like, just a few minutes ago. And when she sent the picture to me on my phone, when I looked at it, I saw behind me in the window a tall, white, pale being looking through my window. And it was the same pale entity that was in Louisiana at the swamp. We have photos and everything. And that's when I knew then that this was way more dangerous than I had earlier felt. We had a stalker on us. So, I tried to brush it off because I didn't, Avalon was about a year and a half into the investigation. So, I didn't want to scare her. I said, oh, that's nothing, man. That's just one of the spirits. That's not the same one that we saw in Louisiana. But in my heart, I knew. And then that's what bothers me, man. So now we're in the present in 2025. And that was the last straw. This time, he actually came and visited, and I caught him on film. And this is what made it strange. Out of all the entities we felt, or we saw, or we captured on film, never had we before had a personal circumstances. But this was that same pale stalker. And I had started seeing him over the last couple of weeks in many other different photos when we go out on our excursions and do our films in the forest. And what do you know? We looking in the films, and there he goes standing by the tree. And in another one, he's standing over there by a house. They start getting frightening, I'm gonna be honest with you. So of course we went to the people that we needed to go to, and we were just informed to leave it alone. But I do have the photos, and I will show it for the last time, but this is the reason why we have fell back a little bit on the Ancient Nine investigations. We still do the studies and everything, but we're gonna leave the entities alone for a while until we can get an understanding of what this particular entity is. Because the deeper down the rabbit hole, I think we have an authentic case of the Slender Man. Whatever these pale entities are, possibly Reikis, or of a skinwalker origin. But when they stalk you, that's not good. And the more and more I look into the Slender Man phenomenon, it's not good at all. So that's my take on, to answer Yvette's question when she asked me the other day, what was the most frightening encounter we ever had? And it was with this pale stalker. So I'm sure you've seen the photos. So all these photos I'm showing is of that entity. This is the last of Ancient Nine Mystery Investigation Unit, Saint Germain.